Kev G with a weather overview. How you doing out there, everybody? We have a major snowstorm for March 21st, and I think this is going to be very comparable to the March 7th storm, but it's going to be a colder version, and snow is going to stick to the pavement and to a lot of areas that it did not stick in on the March 7th storm, and I'll show you why, I think. So, um, basically, what I thought yesterday was that we would get anywhere between 3 and 6 inches of snow area wide, but I think it's going to be a little bit more than that. And as we go through the broadcast, hopefully I can um, show you why I think that. So here are your winter storm warnings in effect. This is courtesy of NOAA. If we take a look at the approximate start times for everything, this is where the heaviest snow starts. Well, at least light to moderate, and then it breaks out into heavier. I think basically it's from 10 a.m. to about 10 p.m. tomorrow night where the heaviest snow starts, but it really starts to get going between 5 and 7 a.m. on Long Island, New York City proper, and then north and west. It's between 7 and 9 a.m. as the snow progresses from south to north. Now, through the course of the night, we're going to have off and on mixed precipitation. You know, we have very weak precipitation that's going to happen overnight. Already we've had some sleet, snow, freezing rain, what have you, throughout the course of the evening. But, you know, the main show is tomorrow. And it's always really been in the cards for Wednesday. So if we look at the coastal flood warnings that are in effect, these are very serious coastal flood warnings that are in effect, especially for the very vulnerable shore communities. So please take caution, and please be aware of all the high tide cycles that are in effect. So all these NOAA graphics are available on their page. If we take a look at their main points, you definitely want to pause the video and take a look at that. But a lot of material to get through. But I think this is really like one of the main points to ponder. Tomorrow is the 50th anniversary of the blizzard of '58, and New York City saw 11.8 inches of snow, and that was one of the most historic storms to happen past the spring equinox or on the spring equinox that we've seen in the last 50 years. So it's worth noting that tomorrow is the anniversary of that. So if we go back and we take a look at the Weather Channel on Facebook and Twitter, we take a look at their power outage map, and I think this is going to be a real problem because of the heavy, wet nature of the snow. This is a major problem. Areas north and west of the city, they've been dealing with this problem for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and that's because of the onslaught of nor'easters that we've had. So people north and west of the city, unfortunately, hopefully this does not hit the same communities that it did over the last few weeks, but I fear the worst. So, and that's because of due to the heavy, wet nature of the snow and winds gusting upwards of 40 miles an hour, especially along the coast. Now, if we take a look at the biggest spring snowstorms, this is really your benchmark. And you know, I know you see a lot of maps on local media outlets and things like that, but this is really your bread and butter right here because these are all the storms that happened after the spring equinox, and I think it's worth noting a lot of these. And of course, the big kahuna was 1958. So we touched upon that already. Now, you take a look at the current dew points. This is basically how dry the atmosphere is. And it is very, very dry across New England and across the Northeast states. And that's why I think we are going to have more accumulation than we did on March 7th, 2018 with our last storm. This is courtesy of Intellicast.com. Speaking of Intellicast.com, we look at the current temperatures right now, and they are in the 30s, and they are above freezing. But when you combine it with the actual dew point temperature, the dew point temperature has to come up, and the temperature has to come down. And that's how you get saturation in the atmosphere, and that's why I think we're going to see accumulation even on pavements. And reading the discussions tonight from the various National Weather Service outlets around the area, also with local media outlets, they also believe that this is going to be the reason why we have accumulation more so than we did on March 7th. And I think it's worth comparing, and I think that's why they did a comparison too, because they were very afraid of the fact that people would think that it wouldn't stick on the roads and it wouldn't stick to the pavement. So I thought it was important for them to bring that up, and I saw a lot of people do that. So if we take a look at the models, we take a look, and the snow really gets going between 5 and 7 a.m. I really believe that from NOAA. And then the show really gets going between 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. tomorrow. This is where we get the heaviest accumulation, 1 to 2 inches an hour, be quite likely across the region. And I think that we will see a lot of sticking on areas that didn't really stick in the March 7th storm, and that's due to the aforementioned factors. And you can see that the snow lasts well into the evening, and I really think that that's a possibility, and that's because of the upper level environment of the atmosphere. You have the surface storm merging with the upper level storm, and that tends to slow everything down, and that's why we're going to have snow probably persisting well after 7, 8 o'clock tomorrow. So with all that in mind, here's what I did. I put a 48-inch marker over the 5 boroughs, and that's with respect to the fact that there's an urban heat island effect, but everywhere else is 6 to 10. My snowfall outlook is lower than a lot of the media outlets. It's a lower than the NOAA outlook, but it's a conservative outlook. I try to make it on the low side. But the 48 inches is only due to the fact that that you have that urban heat island effect. But there is a chance that in Central Park that we reach those historic totals for March anyway, so that I showed you before. So needless to say, there's a dangerous winter storm. Do not travel during the storm. It is a very dangerous storm. Stay off the roads during these premium hours. Air travel will be significantly delayed or impossible for Wednesday. So I'll have another update for you Thursday. I think it's going to snow over the weekend, so we will take a look at that for later on. But next update will be Thursday, and be safe out there.